I get to share about Jesus wells in Rajasthan, and for those of you who don't know, Rajasthan is right there in India. It's a very arid and rugged kind of countryside, and life is very difficult. It's very dry. They only get rain there just a short time during the monsoon season. It's really a hard life there, so Jesus wells are really something that they need. One of the cool things is I got to see a Jesus well getting drilled. Then I got to see hardware installed on another one, and then I got to see him pumping real water out of another one. And I was amazed that they brought this truck into the place where they got it, because when I went there, we took a Jeep and we drove about 2 kilometers up a dry riverbed, another kilometer over fields and terraces and all kinds of things, following the tracks of this truck, marveling in the fact that it even got there. But there it is, and it's just a big, huge air compressor with a whole bunch of kids standing around watching all this. For them, this was like the circus coming to town. You know, it's not every day you get a Jesus well rig coming into a town having all kinds of noise and excitement. So this was fun for them. So this is one of the types of Jesus well drilling rigs. Everything's run by compressed air, and so it pushes a ton of air down into the well, which then forces all the debris that's being drilled to come back up again. And that's the business end of a drilling rig. This particular area, they had to go through about 40 feet of loose ground, and so that bed is what they use for digging through the loose stuff. And then you see that hole in the bottom. Lots of air comes through that thing, which then blows all the debris back up out the hole. And once it gets going, dust is a-flying. Now that's looking down into the hole. They were in the process of changing from the soft bit to the hard bit. And when they make that transition, they stuff this big, huge PVC pipe down into the hole. And here they had about 40 feet of pipe that they were stuffing down in there to keep it from collapsing in. And then they would change out the bit, and that's the one that goes through the hard rock. And so they went about 40 feet or so down before they hit hard rock, and then had to make the switch.
From this place, around 1.5 kilometers, there is one well, and that well belongs to some high caste people. And since these people are tribal background, and they just counted as lowest untouchable people, they have no dignity to live in same level like those people live. My expectation is to know people about Jesus, that Jesus is the real God, and He can give life. He can give a water which whoever drinks it never thirsty again.
It's just been really a hardship for these low caste people having to carry water so far. And then once they hit the water table, then you start getting mud. And then instead of dust flying everywhere, it's mud. It was just really cool just to see this, because we're always praying about the Jesus wells, and then to get to see one being drilled was just hugely exciting. And just knowing that this Jesus well is going to make a huge difference in the lives of these people here. So it was a great time watching that well get drilled. And then sometime later, another crew will come by and put the hardware on. So actually I went to another location to where they were doing the hardware, where they, actually make it look like a well and not just a hole in the ground. This brother, he's the district pastor in this part of Rajasthan. This whole area is very arid, very dry, just like the rest of Rajasthan. And another interesting thing is you walk through the fields and you see these idols everywhere. So it's just kind of an illustration of the, the darkness that's there, because every field has got its own little set of idols that are, just built into the ground. But this is the village where Jesus well hardware installation was going to take place. And then here comes the hardware crew. And again, it's just amazing where these guys will drive trucks. And this is the Jesus well. except what they did is they drilled it about a week earlier, and then they put a big burlap sack in the hole and then put rocks on top of it and then covered it with dirt so that, you know, kids and critters and things wouldn't fall down the hole. And then in the back of the truck is all the stuff necessary to do the final installation of Jesus Well. Now that is orderly, just in case you're wondering. It's not a random pile of stuff. Bouncing around on those hills tends to kind of mess up your organization in the back of a truck. And if you look real close, 200 feet down, you can see the water. Now that's the business end of the pump. This is the actual thing that pumps. This is actually the push rod that works the piston inside there. Here they're putting the base installation in. And then here they go to put that thing in. As you can see that guy's kind of struggling with that. It's not exactly light. That's metal pipe with a metal rod inside with a nice heavy pump on the end. And they're going to stick that thing into the hole.
Today onwards, we are going to use this water for extension of God's kingdom. They were facing a lot of problems to get the water for their daily life, but now they can come here and they can get the water. They can understand that this is provided by Jesus. Jesus is the God who considers us and who loves us and cares for us. So I'm so thankful to my God that He has provided us water and this Jesus well.
Then they'll just continually put extensions of pipe on top of it and let it down, and then another extension and let it down. And those guys have got some big pipe wrenches using tension to keep the thing from falling. It would be a disaster if it fell, because I don't know how they would then get it reconnected again after that. But that is heavy, because each one you put on, and you're talking 200 feet of this stuff, gets heavy. And those guys were really straining their muscles towards the end there. And then once all the pipe is in, down to the bottom, then they start putting, you know, the rest of the parts together to make it look like an actual well. So this is when it starts really taking shape and looking like a real well, you know. It was amazing just how efficient these guys worked. You know, they only brought one of each bolt. I would have hated to drop one down the hole or something like that, but they didn't. This is the most exciting shot to me because this is the first drip of water coming out of this well. For me, it was just so cool. I'm just standing there and the guy's pumping and pumping and pumping, and then finally some water comes out. To see a Jesus well and to see the first drops of water come out was just awesome. And then as the water came out, it's kind of brown, but after about 5 gallons, it started cleaning up, you know, looking like normal water. And so it was kind of a cool thing. And, you know, of course, Pastor, he's pumping on this thing and having fun. And so exciting for him to have a Jesus well. And then the next exciting thing was seeing a Jesus well that had already been completed. This Jesus well is brand new. It's only like a month or so old when I got there.
People came to know this well is belonged to church and provided by the church for us. Before, they did not know about Jesus. Who is Jesus? Then I just explained. This was the way I just started to share about Jesus, that He cares for the people's need and for their lives.
The villages in this area of Rajasthan, they're not all condensed together, house next to house next to house. They're scattered throughout. So Bassar actually covers square kilometers. You know, it's not all condensed in one spot. So the people are walking from all around, and all the ladies are all queued up, you know, to get their water, and all manner of jugs and everything, and they're just patiently waiting. water looks really nice. I was tempted to taste some, but I didn't. Even the cows liked it. It was so funny. This herd of cows came wandering by, and they all just came up and started drinking water. And then they stack them all up on their heads and carry them away. Those are heavy. Those aren't like little canteens. Those are big, heavy jugs full of water. A number of these people have come to Christ, so isn't that cool? Here's a church with more people because of a Jesus well. Each of the pastors all expressed, please extend our thanks to the people. But Jesus well really means a lot to these folks. They wanted to make sure that you all heard their thanks, because you all do so much here to help put a Jesus well there. Each and every one of you has played a part in those Jesus wells. They say thank you to you guys.